Hi there, Terry back again. Hope I find you well, and I hope you've had a good day, or you will be having a good day, uh, depending on when you're watching this. Right, we're on to part 3 now of Jonah Hex, and I'd like to just do a little recap of the first 2 issues I showed in the first part, and that was also All-Star Western number 10, see his first appearance, and number 11, his second appearance. I just like these covers, but I went through what was inside in the first part, as I said. So we will start with number 12, and that changed its name to Weird Western Tales. Cover date July 72, and the cover was by Joe Kubert. The Jonah Hex story inside was Promised to a Princess, and it was written by John Albano and the art by Tony Zuniga. Also had the first appearance of Iron Jaws. That was Jonah Hex's dog. We also have the El Diablo story, and that was A Time to Die, and that was written by Cary Bates, pencils by Neil Adams, and inks by Bernie Wrightson. And inside also were 2 reprints, and they were both one was Backlash, called Brothers, and that was written by Sergio Aragonés and Denny O'Neil, and the art was by Nick Cardy. And it was reprinted from his last in his series, Backlash number 7, which came out in November 1969. And the last tale in this issue was Powell Smith in The Treasure of the Flaming Arrows, and that was by Ed Herron, and the art was by Carmine Infantino, and that was originally in Western Comics Volume 1, number 58, from August 1956. Then we had number 13, and we're back to the 20 cents, as you can see on there. Cover was by Tony Zuniga, and these were 2 new tales, and the Jonah Hex was The Killer's Last Wish, and that was written by John Albano and the art by Tony Zuniga. And the El Diablo story was Night of the Living Dead, and the writer was Cary Bates, and again we had Neil Adams doing the interior art. Then we have Weird Western again, obviously number 14, November 72, cover by Tony again, and Jonah Hex was in The Killers Die Alone, and the writer again was John Albano, and again the art by Tony. And sadly the last appearance of Iron Jaws, but you'll have to read the issue to find out why. And there was no El Diablo tale in this issue, but we have 2 generic Western stories. I believe they were new stories, and they weren't reprints. There's certainly no mention of them being reprints on the DC database. The stories were The Replacement, and it was written by John Albano, and the art was by Sonny Trinidad. And the second story was Anachronism, and that was written by John Krar, spelled K-R-A-A-R, and the art was by Alex Toth. Then we have number 15, and this one actually Jonah didn't appear in. Covers by Neil Adams, and the El Diablo story is called Never Kill a Demon, and again it was by Cary Bates, and again the interior art was by Neil Adams. And there were 2 more generic Western stories. One of them was called Hang 'em High, and that was by Jack Olek, and the art was Gil Kane. And then we had The Ballad of Doc Satan, and the pencils there were by Bill Drought, and the writer was unknown. Then we have number 16, with a lovely Nick Cardy Diablo cover. And Diablo's story in this was Vengeance of the Ghost Victims. It was written by Cary Bates, and the pencils this time were by Alfredo Alcala. And the hex tale was Grasshopper Courage, and that was written by John Albano, and Tony Zuniga done the art. Then we have number 17, and this is a Tony Zuniga cover, along with the art for, and he did the art also for The Hanging Woman, and it was written by John Albano. And the El Diablo story was with the help of Cary Bates and Alfredo Alcala, and it was called Searches for, The Demon of Bad Rock Mountain. And then there was just one story in number 18, August 1973, and this was a Louis Dominguez cover. Dominguez. And we have The Hoax, and this was written by John Albano, and the art was by Tony Zuniga. Excuse me. Then we have number 19. Again, the cover was by Louis Dominguez, and this is actually one of my favourite stories in this run. Real Karma is I call it, is it? Karma is a bitch tale. Karma is a bitch tale. And this was Jonah in Demon on My Trail, and this was again written by John Albano and the art by Tony Zuniga. There's a really good story, this one. I thought this was a one-issue one again, but it wasn't. There's a El Diablo story in this, and it was written by Cary Bates. It was called The Fury of the Haunted Horseman, and Alfredo Alcala takes care of the rest of the art. I think he did the lettering all sorts in this one. Then we have number 20, December 1973, Louis Dominguez cover, and the Jonah tale was Blood Brothers, and this was written by Arnold Drake, and the art again by Tony Zuniga. And also in here wasn't an El Diablo story, but we have a story of a legendary gunslinger called Ben Slade, and this was written by Sergio Aragonés, and the art was by Nelson Bridwell. Oh sorry, no, that was the story. The art was by Gil Kane. And then we have number 21, February 1974, another cover by Louis Dominguez, and again one tale in this issue, and this was called The Gunfighter, and it was by our favourite John Albano and Tony Zuniga. And in number 22, June 74, another Louis cover, and the first story was written by Michael Fleischer, who will write Jonah for over a decade from the beginning of this story. And this was Showdown at Hard Times, and the art was again by Tony Zuniga. This issue also has the first appearance of Quentin Turnbull, a character who will be a thorn in Jonah's side for many issues to come. And also, sadly, this has the last appearance of General Hex's horse. And number 23, August 74 cover date, another Louis Dominguez cover. And the title of this story was The Point Pirates Massacre, written by Michael Fleischer, art by Tony Zuniga, and that was it. That was just one story in there. And the penultimate one I'm going to be showing, number 24, October 74, and the cover again by Louis Dominguez, and the title was The Point Pyrus Aftermath. And this was Michael Fleischer, and the art for a change was by Nolly Panaligan. I wish they'd have some names you could pronounce properly the first time. And last but not least, in this issue anyway, we have got number 25 from December 1974 cover date. I absolutely love this cover. It was one of my favourites of the Weird Western bunts, with because the other one was the All-Star Western, so I can have two. And this is Louis Dominguez again, and the title was Showdown with the Dangly Band, and it was written by Michael Fleischer, and the art again by Nolly Panaligan. And then that was the end, as I say. So let me know if you want a part 4 in the comments, and please like and subscribe. Hopefully see you in the next one, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.